Hello and welcome to Africa and Beyond the Television Network, and we continue to look at what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe without fear, without favor. And in this video, we need to address the Minister of Transport, Felix Mhona. The man was recently out of order. Let us take a look. So what happened legally was not right, and we need to actually have order in our nation. We are not defending commuter or minibuses operators. We are not defending transport operators. We are not defending anyone. But here is the truth. The Minister of Transport cannot clandestinely on his own run operations without the law enforcement authorities. In this case, the police. If he wanted to run an operation, he was supposed to work with the police and then front the police in each and everything. And the police was the one which was supposed to impound and arrest the driver for not having a license as well as for not having a valid permit. So the minister on his own cannot walk around demanding to see permits or licenses, demanding to see driver's licenses. That is not his mandate. You can only produce your license to a law enforcement officer, and the minister is not. So what you need to understand is a police officer is identified, number one, by his uniform, number two, by his ID. So the minister does not have that law enforcement ID, does not have that law enforcement uniform. What it means is, what happens if someone does not know the minister? If somebody has never seen Minister Mhona, what happens? So that is where we will have conflicts. And also it empowers bogus people to clandestinely walk around and start to do roadblocks and start to enforce certain laws, and in the process end up even receiving bribes. And it breaks down law and order. And the minister must be called and must become to order. Let me show you what was happening in South Africa recently.
So you know that is wrong, and you still break the law. It's not intentional. Okay.
Premier, here's the culprit.
Yeah. I see that the auxiliary trial. Why assisting people to cross illegally? Hey? Hey? I will apologize to you. I'm not what all time. Listen, let her jiggle a change a drying. Barrel South like a big bridge. You are using this route. And it's wrong to break the law. It's wrong. That's what we're saying. And we keep on. You see now when you are saying to me, in Twarele, I won't repeat it again, and we don't arrest you. Tomorrow you're going to do double. No, let me tell you something. A criminal act is a criminal act. It's the same when, you see, I'm one of those people who are fighting our judges. When they give a rapist a bail, they grant a rapist a bail. The next day, he doesn't only rape, he rape and kill that victim so that that victim doesn't identify. And I'm the one who jump and say, if magistrate can tighten refusal bail, even yourself, I'm not going to allow an apology. There's no apology. You have broken the law, you must face the law. Where the police and also these ones who are BMIA, we have them again. We are Border Management Authority. Let's do our job. Those without papers,
I've given you about what happened in South Africa, you can see that was that is the premier of the Limpopo province in South Africa, Popira Matuba. She was enforcing laws, not alone, but with the proper law enforcement authorities, that is the police and the border patrol. So when you're looking at that, you can see that Popira Matuba is doing her job, doing an operation with the proper law enforcement authorities who have the arresting powers. I want to give you a clear example. In Zimbabwe, VID is not allowed and does not just walk around on its own. They must have a police officer accompanying them for them to have the arresting powers and for them to be able to even impound cars. That is the reason why you see on each and every VID checkpoint which is legitimate, there is always a police officer. That is the reason why, even when you're looking at various law enforcement agencies and bodies, they work together with the police so that there is no confusion and there is proper identification of who is doing what. If we simply allow individuals to run operations on their own without the involvement of the police, we risk to have challenges and problems. Even if the military is to conduct patrols and whatsoever, they do so in the presence of the police. We've seen it several times. If there is the joint military and police operations, you will always see the police present in those deployments. Why? It's because, number one, there won't be a declaration of war. What it means is the military is not supposed to be there on its own, but they can jointly help the police to do its operations. So I think that must be clear, and I think the minister must understand that. So if we are to look at the core legal point right here, the ministers are not arresting authorities by default. So when you're looking at what is happening in Zimbabwe, the power to arrest is tightly regulated, and it generally lies with the law enforcement officers and other officers specifically given the mandate by the law, and the ministers are not part and parcel of such other officials. So when you're looking at this whole issue, here requested for a driver's license, the driver is not obliged to produce his license to the minister. What if he doesn't know him? How did he identify himself as an authority? How do you know that is an authority? So I think this issue, they need to take this seriously, and they do not need to politic on this one. They must make sure that they deal with this issue holistically and approach it as it is. We are not saying that they are not supposed to run operations. They must make sure that they run operations, but they must do it so accordingly to, and following the law itself. What should the minister do? The minister should prioritize critical things. Number one, the minister should focus on making sure that we have roads. The minister should focus on making sure that we have proper licensing procedures when we are dealing with commuter omnibuses and combi operators. It's very difficult for you to go and obtain an operator's license in Zimbabwe. It's a fact. So if it's difficult, what it means is somebody who does have his own commuter omnibus will simply use it without the operator's license, because it's almost impossible. We have to ask questions. We have different categories of number plates in Zimbabwe. White number plates or white and red number plates, which are meant for public transport. If it is not for any other thing, private use or whatsoever, it's meant for public transport. That is the white and red number plates. How can someone obtain white and red number plates without a valid operator's license? That must be simply put in place. The moment you go and you want to obtain red and white number plates, you must produce an operator's license. That must be simply something which is fair. And the authorities must make sure that in as much as your vehicle is not deregistered, you have to renew your operator's license if it is renewed. That is how things must happen. And when you don't have a functional system, you don't need to continue to punish people for your inefficiencies. It doesn't mean that these transport operators do not need to have the licenses. They want. But the government itself is making it too difficult for them to obtain those licenses. So the transport minister simply need to fix that. You are simply supposed to take note of the vehicles without, not to run an operation of impounding, but take note of the vehicles without operators' licenses and simply call the owners, bring the owners to a round table and say, guys, you are operating your combis without vehicle operators' licenses. What is happening? Can we discuss this and let them vent and let them talk? Bring the people who are the authorities in charge of disbursing and distributing those vehicle licenses or the operators' licenses, and then let each and every part answer for its inefficiency. That is how a minister who is serious does his own things. We have seen so many times the authorities in Zimbabwe, they run after combis, they run after mshikashikas. What is the purpose of a number plate? Why is it that you put a number plate on a vehicle? What is its purpose if you can't use it to simply record and write down, and then you use the law to make sure that everybody is brought to book? One thing, when you are registering a vehicle, you register your residential address, and these days you also register the phone number. What it means is it's very simple. If a vehicle breaks the law, you simply pick the number plate and you visit the person on his residential address, or you call the person on his number. So it's very easy to get to these people. It's very easy to know who is breaking the law and who is doing what. But they choose otherwise is because the system itself is corrupt. The system itself is dirty. What is the minister allowed according to the law? Lawfully, the minister can run policy direction, is not allowed to enforce the law on his own. So the minister should focus on his job and his duty, which is to direct policies. And he's not, he's not disallowed to go onto the ground to see things with his own eyes, but he must do so according to the frames of the law, according to the law itself. He must follow the law, use the law enforcement authorities so as to maintain order, so as to maintain law and order. So this is something which is very important. When you're looking at it, the minister impounded the car, the minister detained the car, and it's only allowed to police officers and inspecting officers. These are the people who are supposed to be doing that. That is VID, that is at the police. So in this case, the minister must be called to order, and we really need order in the nation of Zimbabwe.